How long will you carry a burden that was never meant to be yours? You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, it's already there, waiting, the weight pressing against your chest, the whispers of yesterday wrapping around your mind like a fog you can't escape. You tell yourself it's just another morning, but deep down, you know the truth. It's not the day that's heavy. It's you. The past lingers like an old wound that never quite healed. A shadow that follows you even when the sun is bright. It creeps into quiet moments, hiding in the spaces between conversations, slipping into your thoughts when the world goes silent. And in that silence, it speaks. You should have done better. You could have changed things. If only you had said something different. You hold on to your mistakes like treasured relics, as if keeping them close will somehow rewrite the past, as if memorizing every regret, every wrong turn, will somehow allow you to go back and fix it. But tell me, has it ever helped? Has carrying this weight ever changed what was? You say it's out of your control, that this burden was given to you, that you had no choice but to bear it. But deep down, you know that's not the truth. You are not just carrying this burden, you are choosing to hold it. You think that if you suffer enough, if you hold on to the pain long enough, it will make you worthy again. That maybe, just maybe, your regret is proof of your goodness. That the weight is necessary. That it is punishment you deserve. But tell me this. Who told you that suffering is the price of redemption? Who made you believe that to be good, you must be broken? That to be worthy, you must be wounded? It is a lie that guilt whispers to you, over and over again, until you believe it, until the weight feels like a part of you, until you forget what it was like to be free. But let me tell you a truth that guilt will never admit. Pain does not make you pure. Regret does not make you righteous. And suffering, it does not make you whole. Yet, you still hold on to it, as if without this weight, you would be nothing. But you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. And you were never meant to be defined by the worst moments of your life. Not all burdens are forced upon us. Some, we pick up ourselves. Some, we refuse to put down. And you have carried this one for far too long. You have convinced yourself that letting go would mean forgetting, that moving forward would be a betrayal of what was lost. But is it? Is healing the same as forgetting? Is choosing to move forward the same as erasing the past? But guilt. Guilt will lie to you. It will tell you that to loosen your grip is to lose a part of yourself. That if you stop grieving, it means you never cared. That your pain is proof of your love. But love was never meant to be a chain. And regret, it was never meant to be a life sentence. Yet, here you are, dragging the weight of yesterday behind you like rusted chains. You say you want to be free, yet you hold the key in your own hands and refuse to use it. So tell me, what do you gain by holding on so tightly? Does it make you feel in control? Does it make you feel safe? Or has it only left you exhausted, gasping for air beneath the pressure of a past you cannot change? Maybe you believe that if you carry this burden long enough, it will somehow undo what has been done. That if you punish yourself enough, it will make the past kinder. That regret will somehow change the story. But regret does not rewrite history. Shame does not heal wounds. And guilt? It does not make you whole again. Yet you insist on wearing your pain like armor, as if it will protect you. But has it? Or has it only made you smaller, weaker, afraid to reach for anything beyond the ghosts of what was? What are you afraid of? You tell yourself you have no choice, that this weight is yours to bear. But you do have a choice. The burden is not chained to you. It was never chained to you. And yet you hold on to it as if without it, you will be nothing. So I ask you, what are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of letting go? Afraid of who you'll become when the weight is gone? Because maybe, just maybe, this burden has become familiar, and the weight, though heavy, has become comfortable. Maybe you don't know who you are without it, and that terrifies you more than the burden itself. But here's the truth you don't want to face. You are not strong because of the pain. You are strong despite it. And the moment you decide to put it down, you will not disappear. You will not become nothing. You will finally become free. So tell me, how long will you carry a burden that was never meant to be yours? Because the truth is, the weight has never been the problem. The problem is the choice to keep carrying it. And only you can decide when to put it down. But know this, the burden does not make you worthy. The burden only makes you tired. So when you are ready, when you have had enough, you will set it down. And that will be the moment you finally step forward, not as someone weighed down by the past, but as someone free to walk toward the future. You tell yourself this weight is necessary, that without it, you would forget, that without it, your mistakes would mean nothing. So you hold on, convinced that suffering is the only proof of your remorse. You think that if you punish yourself long enough, it will somehow undo what has been done. But tell me, has your regret ever changed the past? Has your guilt ever turned back time? Of course not. Yet you still believe that carrying this pain is the price of redemption. That if you let go, you are letting yourself off too easily. That moving forward is selfish, unearned. But who taught you that suffering is a form of justice? Who made you believe that breaking yourself is the only way to be whole again? Pain is not proof of goodness. It is not a measure of how much you care. And suffering? It is not a currency that buys you forgiveness. But regret will tell you otherwise. It will whisper that your wounds are necessary, that your pain has meaning only if you never allow it to heal, that to move on is to betray what was lost. And so, you hold on, not because you have to, but because you're afraid of who you'll be without it. Strange, isn't it? How even pain can become familiar. How even suffering can feel like home. You think you're trapped, but the truth is, you've built walls around yourself. Not to keep others out, but to keep yourself in. Because beyond those walls is the unknown. And though this burden is heavy, at least you know its weight. At least you understand its shape. But freedom, that is terrifying. Because if you are no longer defined by your mistakes, then who are you? For so long, you have let your past tell you who you are. You have measured your worth by the heaviness of your regrets. But you were never meant to be a prisoner of yesterday. The past is a place to learn from, not a place to live. Yet, here you are, still trying to pay a debt that has already been paid, still believing that if you hurt enough, it will somehow make things right. But tell me, who benefits from your suffering? Who is healed by your pain? What is made whole by your self-inflicted punishment? Nothing. Because guilt is not justice. Regret is not redemption. And holding on to pain does not make you noble. It only makes you tired. I have watched you, dragging your past behind you like a ghost that refuses to rest. You carry the echoes of your mistakes in your bones. You weave them into your very skin, as if they are the only things keeping you real. But you are not made of your failures. You are not built from your regrets. You are something far greater than the worst things you have ever done. Yet, you treat yourself as if you are unworthy of peace, as if joy is something you must earn, as if kindness is something you do not deserve. But who decided that? Who told you that you must suffer before you can be whole? Because the truth is, there is no one keeping score. There is no judge waiting to tell you when you have suffered enough. There is no higher force demanding your pain. The only one still holding you in this prison is you. But you have carried this burden for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to stand without it. And maybe that is why you refuse to let go. Because the moment you do, you will have to face something even more terrifying than guilt. You will have to face yourself. If you put this weight down, what is left? If you release yourself from the past, who do you become? For years, you have let guilt be your shadow. You have let it define your every step. You have shaped yourself around your mistakes, molded your identity from the things you wish you could change. But what if you are more than your failures? What if your regrets do not define you? What if you are allowed to be more than the worst things you've ever done? Because here is a truth you have not yet dared to believe. Redemption is not something you earn. It is something you choose. Healing is not a reward for suffering. It is a decision. And peace is not a gift granted to the perfect. It is a right that belongs to all who seek it, even you. But so long as you hold on to this weight, you are denying yourself that right. So long as you refuse to release the past, you are choosing to stay stuck in it. And I know that choice is not easy. But neither is carrying a burden that was never meant to be yours. So tell me, if you had the chance to put this burden down, would you? If you could release yourself from the weight of regret, would you take it? Because that moment is coming. The moment where you must decide what matters more, your past or your future. And when that moment arrives, you will have to ask yourself, do you want to keep living in a story that has already been written, or do you want to start writing a new one? Because the truth is, you cannot do both. You cannot hold on to regret and expect to find peace. You cannot drag the weight of yesterday and still hope to move forward. At some point, you must choose. And I hope for your sake that when that moment comes, you choose freedom. Because life is still waiting for you. And it has been waiting for far too long. You have carried this weight for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to be free. The burden has become familiar, a part of your identity, something you do not question anymore. But tell me, is this really who you are? Or is it simply who you've been afraid to stop being? Pain has a strange way of making itself at home within us. It settles into our bones, wraps itself around our heart, and whispers in our ears that it belongs here. That without it, we would be nothing. But that is a lie. A lie regret tells you so that you never leave it behind. But now, you are standing at a crossroads. You can continue carrying this weight, dragging it behind you like a shadow that never fades. Or you can set it down, walk away, choose to believe that there is more to you than your suffering. I know, it is not easy. The burden has been your constant companion. The idea of letting it go feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into the unknown. Because who are you without it? But I will tell you this, you are more than the sum of your mistakes, more than the weight of your regrets. And if you let go, if you take that first step forward, you will not fall. You will rise. You think that holding on keeps you safe, that if you remember every wrong step, every failure, you will never make the same mistakes again, that the weight you carry is what keeps you grounded. But has it? Has your suffering made you wiser, or has it only made you weary? You hold on to regret like a shield, as if it will protect you. But regret does not keep you safe. It keeps you small. It convinces you that you are unworthy of joy, unworthy of a future that does not include pain. But here's the truth. The past cannot harm you anymore. The only thing hurting you now is your refusal to let it go. You are the one keeping the wound open. You are the one tracing the edges of old scars, picking at them just to feel something. But healing does not come from revisiting your pain. It comes from choosing to move forward. And that choice? That is yours alone to make. There is something no one tells you about healing. It is not just about letting go of pain. It is about letting go of the version of yourself that you became while carrying it. And that is terrifying, isn't it? Because when you have spent so long defining yourself by your regrets, by your struggles, by your past, then who do you become when you release them? That fear is why so many people hold on. Not because they want to suffer, but because suffering has become familiar. The unknown is frightening. Change is unsettling. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made you happy? You have lived with this burden for so long, and yet, are you any closer to peace? Any closer to healing? Or are you just tired? You cannot rewrite the past. No amount of regret will ever change what has been done. But the future, that is still unwritten. And as long as you are breathing, you still have a choice. You can keep looking back, reliving the same pain over and over again. Or you can step forward and decide that you deserve more than this endless cycle of suffering. Because you do. Imagine, just for a moment, what life could be like without the weight you carry. What would it feel like to wake up and not be haunted by your past? To breathe deeply without the weight pressing against your chest? To move freely without dragging your regrets behind you? Would it feel like relief? Would it feel like freedom? Or would it feel like finally, for the first time in a long time, you are alive again? Because here is the truth. You are not meant to spend your life buried under the past. You are meant to live, to grow, to change, to step forward, even when it is hard. And the future? It does not care about the mistakes you have made. It only cares about what you do next. The ground ahead is still soft beneath your feet. It is waiting, and it will wait for as long as you need. But do not keep it waiting too long. I know what you are thinking. But how? How do I let go? Letting go is not a single action. It is not one grand moment of release where suddenly everything is fine. It is a decision you make every day, a choice to loosen your grip little by little. Some days the weight will feel lighter. Other days it will press against you again, begging to be picked up. But when that happens, you remind yourself of this. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the weight you have carried for so long. You are something more, something greater, and you deserve to walk forward without chains around your ankles. So when the past calls to you, whispering its familiar pain, remember that you do not have to answer. When regret knocks at your door, inviting itself back in, remember that you do not have to let it stay. When the burden begs you to pick it up again, remember that you have the power to say no. Because this weight, it has never defined you, and now it never will again. So tell me, what will you do with this burden? Will you keep carrying it, letting it shape your every step? Or will you finally set it down and take a step forward without it? The choice is yours. But I hope you choose freedom, because life is waiting for you, and it has been waiting for far too long. If this message found you today, maybe it was meant to. Maybe this is your sign to finally let go. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to take that first step forward, subscribe, because your story isn't over yet.